And let me tell you, there were some cuss words in there. And that my
Leanne, hold on, please don't.
I'm not going to say them because I did not say them in that movie.
No.
Gwyneth, I played Gwyneth, Reese Witherspoon's big sister, Gwyneth. And
what did you do during the table read?
I spell cussed.
No.
I did.
No.
I spell cussed.
Which I got to say, side note, you do in your book, and I think that's genius for the audiobook listener.
Thank you. Well,
who has kids? I got
I'm a mother and a grandmother.
Yeah.
So you literally, I just can't shake this image that you're real time at the table.
Spell cuss in front of Will Ferrell.
Dadville. Yeah. Hi, I'm Dave Barnes.
And I'm John McLaughlin.
And welcome to Dadville.
Dadville is a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of awesome dadding.
It's funny thoughts and deep talks.
So please, enjoy your time here in Dadville and enjoy this episode with Leanne Morgan. Hey, Dave.
Gosh. Forget how ticklish you are.
Oh, man, it's so fun to tickle.
Hey, it's important to John. Can I speak for you, John?
Yeah, you can just say me. Who are you talking to?
It's important to John and me that the supplements we take are of the highest quality.
Yeah.
And that's why for many years, we've both been drinking AG1.
That's right. Out of the same cup.
No,
listen, so many people have asked us if AG1 is the real deal. They keep commenting. They write letters, emails. They send videos and trust us.
They stopped me on a run yesterday.
Yeah, you were barely running. But there's a reason why we've been doing it for so long.
Yeah.
Tell them, Dave. Quality.
Okay.
Say it again.
Okay.
Quality.
For AG1 isn't just a buzzword. It's a commitment backed by expert-led scientific research, high-quality ingredients, industry-leading manufacturing, and rigorous testing. I went by their labs the other day, John. Everybody is sweating through their shirts. Okay,
but in a very hygienic way. They take care of the sweat.
Way. At each step of the process, AG1 goes above and beyond the industry standards.
Look, we know that we can trust what's in every single scoop of AG1 because it's tested for 950 contaminants and banned substances.
Why do you think they're sweating so much?
While the industry standard typically only tests for 10, Dave.
Nobody's sweating over there. I went by and they had jackets on. Taking care of our health shouldn't be complicated. And AG1 simplifies this by making it so there aren't a million different pills and capsules to keep track of.
I can't do it.
Just one scoop of AG1. Wham! Mixed in water every day.
That's all it takes. AG1's ingredients are heavily researched for efficacy and quality, and we love that every scoop also includes folate, magnesium, and ashwagandha for stress support.
That's right.
I feel less stressed just saying ashwagandha.
I dated a girl named ashwagandha in Mississippi. We've partnered with AG1 for so long because they make such a high-quality product that we genuinely look forward to drinking every day.
That's right, Dave. So, listener, if you want to replace your multivitamin and more, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first subscription at drinkag1/Dadville.
That's drinkag1/Dadville. Check it out. I miss you, ashwagandha. Leanne, I'm just, first of all, can I say that we're friends? Can I start by saying
yes,
that?
we are friends forever.
Okay. We're Knoxville friends. We're friends. And I've wanted this to happen again really since the first time that I had you on. It was like, that just felt like the amuse-bouche. I was like, I needed, that was just the taste. And then when I saw that book, I was like, this is it. This is the chance. Because she's busy taking over the world. She's as they would say in the 50s, playing to all types of crowds, doing her show
that was late
out and
40s.
about. That actually a little higher. The timbre would have been the 50s. It just feels like, I just thought we got the book. We got to get on. We got to talk about the book. We got to talk about everything that's changed. So I looked at the date. I had you on in December of 2021. And I feel like there are a million things to catch up on since then. You have been here, there, and everywhere.
Is that when we did that, my darling? The December 21.
Yeah.
In the middle of the COVID.
that little beat you took where your eyes you were calculating. You're like, wow, that's I've seen so many things.
I mean, time flies. Golly.
I know.
And I had a ball with you, you angel. Yes, a lot is happening. They're working me like a mule. I feel like in the Elvis movie when they had to put Elvis's sweet head down in that ice bucket. I hope I don't get hooked on dope.
I know. Well, that's what we have. We pray for you. We have a little group of people just to get together. We pray for. We just think, we just don't want our head in the ice bucket. That's one of the things that we tell each other, which means a lot of things. That can mean literal or the figurative drug ice bucket. We don't want you getting any of the booger sugar.
But do you know, because you've toured all your life. No wonder Loretta Lynn got hooked on pills.
Are you kidding? I mean, listen. Maybe that's how we start this whole thing, Leanne. Is we let people know. I mean, John and I talk about this a good bit with Dadville because John, tours. I tour, you tour, but I think people. It's one of the things that's kind of a casualty of this job to me is that people don't quite understand. They have those movies where like, oh, look what happened to her. And you kind of feel like, oh, that's, they kind of lifted the lid a little bit on it. But it is like, I think this, anytime when I've gone out for like a lot of shows in a row, or I do like a lot of weekends in a row, I'll have some day where I'm like, oh, I get it. I have zero judgment for anybody who's just made terrible decisions because I think people underestimate, one, the monotony for me. That's what
half
kills
the
me.
time people are taking drugs just to go to sleep.
Yeah, that's true.
I think Prince was just trying to sleep,
Sweet Prince.
Yeah.
Sweet Prince.
I didn't know it had that many syllables or vowels in Prince. That was Prince.
I'm just sitting here looking. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm looking at my sun damage, and I'm thinking y'all are both so beautiful. And I know that nasty women say horrible things to y'all, and I'll pray about that because I bet y'all had. It's no telling who's been after y'all.
Yeah, it's a
but
lot.
I just look at myself and I think I want them to just remember that I was so cute in the 80s. Even though I was in sin and I smoked cigarettes behind a dumpster and dated people you wouldn't wipe your feet on. But anyway, all right. But I want people to know that listen to this, that truly I don't want to sound like that I'm not grateful because I'm so grateful. But I think two things can be true at the same time.
Yes,
of course.
It's true.
You can have this wonderful thing happen, which is everything I've ever dreamed of and bigger than I ever dreamed of it to be. But it is so hard. And let me tell you, I'm going to drop this name. I was in the intro, Little Laney Wilson, at the Toby Keith tribute at the Bridgestone. And I hate how my ankles looked. I hate y'all even have to see it. It's going to come out August 28th, and my legs look like stumps. But anyway, and everybody there's watched their weight. But Luke Bryan, I had met his wife. She loves comedy, and I had met her.
Oh yeah. She's hysterical. She is so funny. Yeah,
and just a nut.
Yeah,
and his little mama's a nut and fun. And they said, do you want to meet Luke Bryan? I go, I've always wanted to meet him because I've met his little wife. So he came in my green room. It was just like talking to your best friend, lived down the road, darling. Y'all probably know him. And he said, he goes, this is so hard. It is so hard.
It is so hard.
Traveling and doing. And he said, people don't know how hard it is. But he said, it is a lot of work. It is a lot of hard work. We just sat there and looked at each other and went, it is so, but it's all wonderful. But I think it's also, I've never had a bus. I've never been that hoot-de-doo, but I'm always dragging a big suitcase through an airport and then getting in a rental car and then getting to a theater or getting to a hotel and then putting on a girdle, then get to a theater and then do all that. And it's, it is just hard on your body and hard on your mind. Then you got to get there and you want it to be the best for your audience, then you got to get up so you can be the best and give it everything you got. And then, try to go to bed and sitting in a hotel room, staring into space, and me going through menopause at the same time, which I can't sleep anyway. So anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that tangent because
I would think that it would be especially, I totally agree with you. I just played 2 shows in Hawaii last weekend, and it was, I think it was a turning point in my life. I'm 41 years old, and I'm like, that trip, which I've done that trip before, was a turning point in my life. I can't travel like I'm 23 anymore. And I don't know. I'm just sitting on a plane all day. I don't get why that would wear me out, but it does. But
it does. I think it dehydrates you, and I think it also. I've got a friend who, in her 50s, just became a flight attendant for Delta, and she's so tickled, and she's saying that the pressure going up and down affects your eyesight.
Yes, I totally get that because my eyes were all messed up the day after I got back. But anyway, I would think for a comedian it would be especially tough because for a musician. I get to the venue in Hawaii, and of course, my voice has got to be feeling good. But as long as I slept the night before, my voice is going to be fine. But my songs are my songs. And Dave and I, we can play our songs in our sleep. Like we have our 10 million hours playing our songs, right? But with a comedian, it's like there's so much nuance to your delivery and your tone and it's a little bit, in a way, it's more intimate, I feel like. It would be harder to be exhausted and wanting to be home and get out there and be like, there's nothing else for me to lean on. I've got a microphone and my material, and that is it. There's nothing else in between the audience and me. That, to me, would be terrifying.
Sometimes
I just wanted to put some more darkness on the picture you painted.
Well, and I make it even harder on myself because I feel like I'm really stupid when it comes to this kind of stuff. Like my friend Nate Bargatze or Jim Gaffigan, like that, they have a script and they don't, they print it out. Somebody prints it out for Jim, I know for sure, and they go by that and they don't vary from that. I talk out of my butt.
Yeah. Yep.
And every show's different, and I feel fresher that way, and I just feel that feels natural to me, but it's not smart. It's really not smart. I should do a script because I'll shoot another special for Netflix next June, and I'm shooting a television series this fall, so I won't be on the road as much. I am doing some dates, but my baby child who travels with me, who's my makeup artist, and is very smart and smart aleck. Mm-hmm. She's saying, "This is stupid, Mom. You're going an hour and 20, an hour 30, and you're pulling stuff out of your butt, and you need to stay on script so that you can shoot this special and then go to the next one, because I got to have a next one ready in 2027. But I'm bad about, I'll go to Nebraska and start talking about Johnny Carson. I just have to do something in there.
Yeah.
Is that as much for you to stay interested, just so you feel...
Yeah, because I get sick of myself, Dave.
Yeah,
real sick of myself.
Yeah, yep.
Okay, but here's the trick with that, which maybe you're saying you play around with it by throwing in completely new material here and there. But are you, like on stage, I'll tell a story to set up a song or whatever, and by the 8th show of the tour, I'm sick of the way I'm telling this story, but I've got it down. Like you figure out the pauses, you figure out the expression, you figure out when I say this actual word, things like that. But by the 8th show, I'm like, I can't do it again. And so I'll change it up a little bit, and then I'll be playing the song. I'll be like, that wasn't as good. I need to go back to the way. So do you feel like you're sacrificing, like, no, I know what's bulletproof, but I can't do that every night. Even if it brings the delivery down a little bit, it'll overall be a win because it keeps me interested.
Yeah, that, and then sometimes it works even better. You know what I think?
Yeah, right.
It takes me a while to work out something. But this tour, I've done over 100 shows on this new hour, and it'll be more than that by the time I get to shooting the special, and I just get so tired of myself, and I get so tired of the same material, and but they wanted me because thank the Lord, I've got this television series. They go, we think you can, you don't want to shoot a special now, wait and shoot that special, because then they have to help me plan to get my new hour, and where am I going to work that out next summer to be able to tour a third tour with another new hour. Yeah, I get so bored with myself, but I really need to stay on track and do it. But I switch it up all the time. I pull stuff out of the air.
Well, whatever you're doing is working, so let's just keep
so
it
good.
rolling.
I mean, we talked about that the first time that we hung, Leanne. Like, I think to me, I'm sure there's 500 kinds of comedians, but to me, I kind of think of it in two ways, which is very simple. But I'm from Mississippi, so that's kind of part of the deal. Is, you have your sort of like rehearsed, right? You have people, you said it so well with Jim, or I'm calling him Jim, but Nate, where they get up and they really do kind of have their thing, and it's dialed in. This is how, I kind of know how it's going to go, and it's going to be amazing, but this is how it goes, And then to me, you kind of have more of your improvisational comics. So they have the script, but man, if somebody laughs a certain way or you trip for a second, you're like, oh, here we go. I have new material now. And, which is, John and I are both kind of like that. And when I've done stand-up shows, I would get in trouble because my manager would see the show and I knew it. I was going to get reprimanded. Like, he'd be like, hey, so great show. And I was waiting for it. He'd be like, a lot of new stuff. And I was like, yeah. He was like, it was funny. So, but we don't need all that new stuff because they don't even know it. It's all new. And so just do the bits, stick to the time, and it's a great night, and I would kind of have to. Yeah, and he was like, I know what you're going to say. You're bored. And I was like, I am bored. He's like, but that's okay because they don't know this stuff. And it was so hard for me because I think it's one of the reasons that I couldn't do this near like you're doing it, among many other reasons. But one of them is just that I'm so bad at like, get out there and just do the 45. Get out there. Just do it because I'm like, yeah, but like, what fun is that? Like, where's the little moment? And so to me, it was always really hard managing and still is every now and then. And it's kind of like what John is saying, even with our music shows. I'll find a little, I'm like, I found something. And then before, I'm like, I can't not double down on whatever that moment is. But then it's funny because then like the next night I'll try to do it and it's not as funny, because you realize like some of that stuff, but the beauty is it's just going to happen that night and you let it be that night. And then sometimes you're like, man, I built a whole new 5-minute bit from that one thing I added. But but I can't imagine how hard it is too, because again, that's the thing. That, and again, I think we talked about this, but I had to learn is like comedy is so much more taxing on an audience than music is. I mean, it's so much more taxing, like physically, when they're sitting out listening to an hour 15 of comedy is, 3 hours of music. It's just, so, you're so much more engaged, you're laughing. And so that was the other thing my manager had to really lean in me on was like, hey, they're tired. Like you need to, I know you're feeling it and you're like riding the pony up there, but like they are ready to go home. And so, that's why like I started realizing so many great comics do an hour, even if they're headline, cause it's like they know. And so I think where I'm going with this is your personality and my personality is I like the improv. I like the energy of something new. I like riffing. I like having somebody throwing me something and I'm going with it now, but I think you also have to have this weird discipline, it's like just land the joke, move to the next joke, land, which has got to be hard every night to do that.
And let me tell you, Nate has 3 or 4 people open for him.
Yeah.
They only do 5 or 10 minutes, but I have the same. Most of the time, it's little Karen Mills will be with me, and she does 25, and then I do an hour and 20. But I find myself at the end going, if y'all just hold on 1 minute, if you got a melatonin in your purse, don't take it yet. Let me just tell y'all this one last thing.
I know.
That Chuck Morgan did to me, and then I'll tell y'all when you can take your melatonin.
Yes.
But, my daughter, who's, like I said, is with me all the time, she goes, you're wearing people out. But I feel like I look out there and there's some darling woman with a crossbody purse on that's never been to a comedy show. I'll see a 90-year-old man, and I have people say to me all the time, my 90-year-old dad loves you. And I think, and and the comedy club owners, before I went to theaters, they said, we've never seen this. It'll be a daughter, 25, with her mama, 50, and the grandmama, 75. Mm-hmm. And they said, we've never seen 3, with the little grandmama with a brooch at a nasty comedy club. And so I know they're so good to me that I think I've got to give them everything.
Yeah, that's right.
I think they're like when an audience can tell the performer, be it the artist or the comic or whatever, is enjoying themselves genuinely.
Yes, that's a great
That's worth
point.
its weight in gold. I think that's
really,
a
great point. That's a
which
great point.
This leads me to the first question that I had listed here, which I want to preface it by saying this is a absurd and ridiculous question. The question is, do you think that you're funny? Which again is ridiculous, but let me just add to it by saying I feel like, and I think it's been through doing this podcast with Dave and talking to so many fascinating people, I think a lot of times the person who is super chatty and super conversational are sometimes that way because the voices in their head say, you're too quiet. And like the guy who's got muscles upon muscles upon muscles, like the inner voices, you are a weakling. You know what I mean? So I think it's fascinating sometimes people's deep-seated motivations and how they present sometimes is the opposite of the voices in their head. So obviously you've done this over 100 times just on this tour. You get up in front of thousands of people and everyone, is expecting you to be hilarious. And you are, we've got the proof. It's on paper. You are objectively hilarious. I'm not talking about what the jury says. I'm talking about, what do you feel like you are funny?
I do. But, and
Good.
I tell you, and I knew it from the time I was little. I just knew I could make people laugh. I knew I couldn't do math. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I couldn't do math.
Math doesn't draw a crowd like comedy does,
Right. But I always admired people. I thought, and I married my husband because he was good at math. But I knew I've got a lot of flaws and there's a lot of things I don't know how to do well. But I just knew. I just knew it. And if something was wrong at school or at home or if somebody felt uncomfortable or whatever. One, I think I'm not a butthole, and I hate to even say that word on this with y'all are sweet believers.
Yeah, we'll have to send out a
butthole's
newsletter.
a cuss word. But I feel like I'm a kind person, and like I say, I got a lot of flaws, but I don't want anybody to be hurt, and I use humor to get people through a bad time. I don't know. I think I could have been a therapist if I had not done this. I was going to be a child and family therapist, and I got a degree in child and family crisis intervention counseling. But I just feel like that's the God gave me those gifts. I can make friends easy. I can care for people, and I can make them laugh.
John,
hey, Dave.
Let me tell you, people are going to say flowers are great.
I was going to say something.
Well, I'm kind of on.
I had something.
Flowers are great. I'd say they are great, but there's a lot of them. Okay, people would say, "Gosh, that guy's got a really cool car." I'd say, "Guess what? There's another one of those."
Yeah.
But can I tell you what? There's nothing like.
What's that?
That first sip of methodical coffee.
Listen,
101, John. That's a Mona Lisa right there.
That's true. Also, I love that you're reading from the autobiography you're working on. Methodical coffee is the best, Dave. It has craft coffee and tea for people of all kinds. Roasted, blended, brewed, served, and perfected by verified coffee and tea aficionados like myself.
Oh, are we doing the ad? I was just reading out of my book. And Methodical has resolved the headache of having too little or too much coffee from your traditional time-based coffee subscription. With Methodical, you can subscribe by usage.
We're living in the future. You can receive a free smart scale that tracks your coffee consumption and triggers your next order right at the perfect time. So you always have just the right amount of coffee on hand, worry-free.
I don't have to keep it in my pocket just loose.
You don't have to. Those days are over, Dave.
The best part is you can receive 20% off your first bag and 10% off all subsequent bags with no code needed when you try the free Smart Scale.
Now, Dave, as you know, we also have our very own Dadville blend.
We do.
Right? It's filled with hints of chocolate, graham, brown sugar. It gets us going every morning.
Methodical is on a mission to connect people to the beauty of life through coffee experiences for people like you. John, I'm talking to you, but I'm also talking to whoever hears this.
Okay.
Methodical has been roasting and hosting since 2015.
Now, on their site, you'll also find brew guides that'll teach you how to turn your coffee brewing chore. Of course, you're confused right now because, of course, it's not a chore.
Well, I also want to say this, John. For any South Africans listening, that's brew, not bro. And you may hear that. So you can find bro guides, but they're going to have brew guides. Okay, so don't get
Sorry, I
confused.
get
That's
excited.
right. We have a huge South African niche. Go ahead.
Anyway, turn that chore into a beloved ritual.
Beloved.
Receive 20% off your first bag and 10% off all subsequent bags. Those are all the bags after the first bag.
Yep.
No code needed.
They could have said no bro code needed.
Come on.
Or brew code for the
Sure.
South African. Craft a cup you'll love with
Methodical coffee. I knew you were going to say methodical.
Back off.
Because that's what we've been talking about.
Your teen requested a ride, but this time not from you. It's through their Uber teen account. You drive your teenager around, a lot, to their friend Jacob's house, their other friend Jake's house, to James's, to Jaden's, to Jalen's, to...
Mom? This is Jake's house, not Jacob's.
Now with an Uber teen account, your teen can request a ride under your supervision. They'll ride with a highly rated driver, and with live trip tracking, you'll follow along the whole ride to their friends' houses that all sound the same. Add your teen to your Uber account today. See app for details.
Bye, Mom.
Well, you know what I think is so great about your humor, and I think this is like where humor can be a real superpower, is when it really is meant to make people comfortable. Like when it's meant when, you find that you're being funny because you can tell someone feels a little uncomfortable, and the minute they laugh, they feel comfortable, or they feel like a part of your little crew that's talking or whatever. And so I think that's where, as a kid, you really see it. I mean, you can see it play out a million ways as a kid, but I know for me too, that was like one of those things like, man, I can just, everybody sort of relaxes when I say some things and it doesn't feel weird anymore. Or it's like that one kid who's really, I can sort of make a joke with them and all of a sudden they're smiling. And it's like, hey, it's like, it's like, it's a really powerful, benevolent thing in that context. Obviously it can get you in trouble too. You know what I've realized, and this is John's fault. I don't know why it is, but I'm blaming it on him. We didn't even do like the catch up. I have to say this, Leanne, because there's so many people listening that are like, Dave, will you just tell us more about her? That's what they're thinking
like
right
who
now.
is this? Who is
Well,
that?
no. They're just thinking like, we need to know more of the scoop because we know she's funny, but catch us up. Well, first of all, there's a million things. And if you listen the first time we talked, it's all there. But even since then, like I wrote down these things. I didn't write these down, but I'm reading what
We have teams of people who write for us.
We do. We have so many, one person that does this. But okay. So since then, first 6 months of her just getting started, which we talked about tour, you've sold over 100,000 tickets. Okay. That's just one. Yeah.
That was just getting started, or Big Panty? Was that Big Panty?
It says just getting started. And if it's wrong, we'll fire our producer. Jason will be gone by the end of the day.
No, okay, that makes sense.
I love that you don't know that. Working on a new, which you said, I want to make sure we talk about this too. Working on a new Netflix series with famed producer Chuck Lorre, who did, I was looking at this, he did 2.5 Men and Dharma and Greg, which really took me back. But like tons, he is the king of sitcoms is what he's called. Like he is, I mean, Big Bang Theory is, top 10 sitcoms of all time. Released her first Netflix special, I'm Every Woman, in 2023. Recognized as one of, listen to this. Okay. Farragut's own. Okay. Recognized as one of Variety's top 10 comics to watch for 2023. And this is really exciting. And again, was like the fun thing to talk about that's new is a new book. What in the world? Okay. Southern Woman's Guide to Laughing at Life's Unexpected Curveballs and Blessings. That's coming out September 24th. I mean, again, I can't, Leanne, it's like so much. We talked about this the first time. Like a lot had changed. This was like right after COVID, like you said. Well, I mean, I guess we're still in that fog a little bit, but we talked so much about how you had these videos you posted. They went crazy nuts viral. Just the eye of Sauron turned and found you and rested on you. Everybody suddenly was like talking about it. And I told you, and you've since met my mom, since which she hasn't washed that hand, by the way. That one finger, she still says that she shook, and she's like, this is what Leanne touched, and it will never be washed. But like, my mom was sending me, my sister, everybody that I knew was sending me videos of yours back then. And like, and I, of course, then my wife and I did that thing where, it's COVID, nobody was leaving the house. Like we just spent hours on it. Like I had to charge my phone because we kept finding your videos. And I was like crying, but that was then. And then you fast forward to where you are now, and it's just like everything keeps exploding and exploding and exploding. I mean, it's crazy to think just in 3 years, because even then I was thinking about it today, I was like, that really felt like the rocket was taking off. But then, man, you fast forward 3 years now, and it's like, you're in the out of the solar system at this point. It just feels like the thing is just, what is it like riding that energy? Just knowing.
It's crazy. And I wish I had journaled, and I wish I had a therapist. I should have gotten a therapist, because I've been through it. There's nowhere to read to go, what do you do if this happens to you?
Yeah.
And I have Karen Mills that opens for me. We've done comedy. We traveled on and off together since 2004.
Wow.
And I started comedy way before that. So I've been doing it, over 25 years. And a lot of years couldn't get arrested. Nobody cared.
Yeah.
But I would put that little thing through horror. Every day I would call her and go, I don't know. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know. Why is this happening? And it was just, so it's been hard for me to try to navigate through this, because I had imposter syndrome, terrible. I thought, even though I've been doing this 100 years, and I feel like God revealed this to me when I was a child. I really do. I mean, I think I heard Steve Harvey say something one time about how God put something in your imagination. He did for him as a child. He's like, I'm going to be on TV. And, what children think that? And I feel like God put that in my heart. And so I always knew it, and I didn't know when it was going to happen and all that. But then I didn't think it was going to happen when I was in my 50s and a grandmama. But I did. I went through a spell where I thought, I'm not good enough. I don't know. These precious people come out and see me. They tell me I got them through chemo, or their husband died, or whatever. And I feel like I'm not worthy enough. I'm not good enough. I need to go home with every one of them and clean their house and sweep out their car. I did. I thought I need to put in a load of wash. I need to go home with everyone. I mean, I went through it was very weird. And I thought I was not good enough. And then I still feel that way a lot, but I'm kind of getting over that, or, able to deal with it. But it's been an unbelievable ride. And I'd say this, and then I don't do it like I'm supposed to, but I really try to be present and just enjoy it. But, the human side of me is like, how many tickets are sold in San Jose?
Yeah,
what is anybody doing? Is anybody putting up graphics? But I try to stay present and just think, oh my gosh, this is bigger and more wonderful than anything I ever dreamed of. I'll tell you one of the moments where I'm like, what in the world? I was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania at a casino doing a show where Janet Jackson had just been. That was a big deal to me, because I was a Janet Jackson girl. She's my age.
Oh yeah.
And we both ovulated in our 50s. Just saying.
I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah. I could have had a baby in my 50s. I'm just saying. But anyway, I was there, and my manager called, or I can't remember who, and they said, Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell want you to do a table read. I go, what's a table read? I get on a plane. They go, we're rerouting you, and so I had a show in Hahira, Georgia that weekend, which is comedy. This is comedy. Like 1 minute, you're doing.
I was gonna say
just men that make carpet fiber in Dalton, Georgia, and then the next day you're on top of the world and you think I am Chris Rock. The next day you're doing a show for women that scrapbook and nobody's laughing. I mean, it's just up and down, just like a torment. Okay, so I was doing that casino. It went well. Then I go and do this table read, and I feel like I'm going to have diarrhea on a plane. I'm like, what in the world? I called my good friend David Alford that graduated from my little country high school that only had 42 people in it. And he went to Juilliard, and it's an actor. I know. His daddy was our Methodist minister and also a dairy farmer. So David, I called David and I go, David, what is a table read? And he goes, you're going to be on a table with a bunch of people reading a script. And I know he probably wanted to kill me because he went to Juilliard and he has started theater groups and done unbelievable things. And he goes, you are what, Leanne? I go, I'm doing a table read with Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
He probably would go, you are so not talented, because we were in a speech and drama at Joe Burns
so not talented
in Robertson County. But anyway, so
shout out Robertson County,
Adams, Tennessee, Springfield, Greenbrier. So I go out there, I do this table read, and I was thinking, what in the world is this? And who? And it was stars everywhere, actors and people you've seen all your life. It was, all of Amazon, because it's going to be on Amazon Prime. All their people. Nick Stoller, director that did Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and Take Me to the Greek, and and these writers and all these people. And I was
so can I ask something as you're doing this, just really quickly? Is there any part of you that went, you know what? I'm just gonna get out there. I don't know what I'm doing. Like, did you give yourself the grace to
nothing
go?
To lose.
It's okay. I got nothing to lose. Or did you kind of go in like?
Yeah. Well, and David said to me, Leanne, they obviously want you. Like they see this character for you. Reese, you've met her. She followed me on, during COVID and would message me and stuff. Was precious. They want you, Leanne. Just go in there and be you. That's it. And he gave me the best advice. He said, just be you, be yourself. And let me tell you, there were some cuss words in there. And that my
Leanne, hold on, please don't.
I'm not going to say them because I did not say them in that movie.
No.
Gwyneth. I played Gwyneth, Reese Witherspoon's big sister, Gwyneth. And
what did you do during the table read?
I spell cussed.
No.
No. I spell cussed. And
Which I got to say, side note, you do in your book, and I think that's genius for the audiobook listener.
Thank you.
Who has kids? Like, that's genius.
A mother and a grandmother.
Yeah. So you literally, I just can't shake this image that you're real time at the table.
Spell cuss in front of Will Ferrell. I did. It was I'll just tell you, it was terrible. And then I think this movie's going to be darling and heartfelt and wacky and nuts. It is a lot of language. I play Gwyneth, who is from Buckhead, from Old Money. She's the oldest of the siblings, and that's Reese. Reese is my little sister, Rory Scovel. Unbelievable comedian, so
what
funny.
A cast.
A nut job.
Rory's is hysterical.
And then Meredith Hagner, who is our little sister, who's now just come out in Bad Monkey with Vince Vaughn. She's married to Wyatt, Goldie Hawn's baby child with Kurt Russell. So anyway, and they, everybody's saying horrible things. And I just said, I was so nervous, but I thought, and I prayed about it, and I was up all night, and I thought, I cannot say these words.
I can't. I'm not kidding. I can't stop. I cannot stop laughing thinking about that they're going on the table when you're stopping. It's
knowing nothing about this movie, obviously,
just got me tickled.
I could see them being like, "That's a genius comedic choice."
Honey, I'm telling you, I think it got me that part. I'm not kidding. I mean, I do think Reese built me up and wanted me and did this for me because she loves me. And it's like when they say Dolly Parton's got a little angel that eats most of her food that lives on her shoulder. Reese Witherspoon is my little angel, but she makes me eat the food.
I think you're on her shoulder, potentially.
Eating her food.
All of her angel food.
I need to write that down. No, thank you. That
there we
go. Hold on.
We've got that hour for 2027 working already.
Okay. So I read that table read and I said,
did they just love it?
You see, Kate, something. And it got a big laugh in the room. It got a big laugh. And everybody broke up and died. And I thought, but there were some things I didn't do well at all in that table read, things I sucked at. And then that got a big, and I thought, let the chips fall where they may. I've got to get to high and do a show for men that duck hunt.
I mean, yeah, you do.
Like, is anyone else going down to High Georgia?
Could I just grab a ride with anybody that's headed down that way?
I flew from L.A. to Atlanta, sat next to Machine Gun Kelly.
No.
What a weekend.
And my kids, I go,
Leanne, what a weekend.
I think I'm sitting next to Machine Gun Kelly. And Tia said, Machine Gun Kelly's not on commercial, Mom. I go, well, somebody sitting with me that's got on a toboggan with a bloody dead rabbit on it and a size 17 shoe. And I said, this is, and I went, and she goes, this is Machine Gun Kelly, Mom. That's Machine Gun Kelly. I go, I know, good Lord, I'm hip. So anyway, I said to him, I go, you don't know me, but I'm a grandmother, and I just did a table read with Will Ferrell and Reese Witherspoon. He goes, "That's effing sick." And then I said,
"What if he spelled it out?" And you'd be like, "That's my bit."
I know, but I think he used effing and not the whole thing.
He respected you. He knew
I think he did. We bonded. I'll just tell y'all, we bonded. And he was with Megan. They were having horrible problems. And I said, Megan Fox, believe it or not, is from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. And I raised my children in Farragut, which is right. She'll know where it is.
From
and he
Oak
went,
Ridge?
"What? I'm going to text her right now." And I said, "Tell her that I think her little body is so pretty. And I cannot believe she's had 3 children." And he went and texted her and said, "That'll make her feel so good." So turns out Megan Fox has low self-esteem. But anyway, then I got the hell, hey, Hira. Then I fly to Evansville, Indiana. And Evansville, Indiana is wonderful.
I'm from Indiana. I know what you're talking about. I saw that you're playing Fishers, Indiana, coming up in November.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All our Indiana listeners, go get tickets right now. It's probably already sold out, so never mind.
It's not, but it's close, but not. Okay. But I'm very excited about that. And it's the Saturday after Thanksgiving when everybody's going to be so tired of their family and they can get out and get away from them.
That's right.
But then I flew to Evansville, Indiana, and their little airport, and a little mama picked me up in an Uber, and she had a dirty diaper, a Burger King sack, and a little dirty diaper, and I think I put my foot in that dirty diaper in the back. Oh. And I got a call from my agent. She told me how bad she hated that town, which I've always loved Evansville, Indiana, and Jack McBrayer's from there, who was in the movie with me. But anyway.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jack McBrayer, that doll. Oh, he's not from there. He's from Georgia. He went to school there at that wonderful theater.
Oh, okay.
You know, they've got an unbelievable theater program. Yeah. So anyway, that little girl was telling me how bad she hated her life, and I could tell by the back seat. Yep, it was rough. Anyway, so I'm sitting there in the back of her filthy little car because that's comedy. One minute you're with Will Ferrell, the next minute you got your foot in a dirty diaper in the back of somebody's Uber. Yeah. And I get a call and they go, "You're not going to believe this, Liam. You got that part." And I was like, what? I mean, just every day there for a while. I mean, it's still wonderful all that's happening, but it was just like.
So have y'all shot it? It's done?
We shot it, and it comes out January.
What was that? So how many days were you on set?
It took 2 months to shoot, and I was down there the whole time.
Holy cow.
I came back and forth because I play her. Okay, the movie is a wacky wedding movie. 2 families, Will's family and our family, are fighting over one venue that's been double booked for the weekend.
Oh, I've seen this trailer.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that trailer. It looks hysterical.
That's the one. And so because I play Reese's big sister, I'm in all these scenes. I mean, not in everything, but I'm in a lot. I'm in a lot.
Even if you're just in the background.
Yeah.
Like you're in it.
Yeah, and also, I mean, they had written, my part was a little part, but it kind of got bigger. It's not one of the big people, but it became bigger. And why? Because they would throw stuff at me and they would go, "Leanne, talk about blah, blah, blah," and I would improv.
You just go, "Oh my gosh."
Were you totally comfortable with that? Were you like, "This is my superpower"? At
first I wasn't, John. I felt like I was going to have explosive diarrhea. The first day I thought, but then after it started going, I thought, I know what's funny. I had this conversation in my head every night in Atlanta in an apartment. I thought, okay, I do know what's funny. I've always loved Saturday Night Live. I always wanted to be on Saturday Night Live. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't know how. I was from the country and didn't know how to drive to Chicago. And to Second City, I didn't even know what in the world all that was. But I thought, I can do this. I can do. And a few times after I did it, I thought, okay, I know how it works. Because I'd never done a movie. They said, Fortune Themester, comedian, so funny, looked at me and said, "Leanne, there's an X on the floor. That's your mark. Go stand on it and say your line." I didn't know anything.
Wow.
So by the time I kind of figured out how things were working, I thought, okay. And there's one line in the movie that they kept. I've seen it. And there's some things that I riffed they didn't use, but then they used something else of mine, So it got to be a big, I think I made that they made that part bigger for me as time went on. And then there's something where I say to Will Ferrell, his character, I go, I've got a spray tan if you're wondering what that smell is.
Oh my gosh.
And I think I stumped Will. He went, and then I said, he goes, I don't smell anything. And I said, I smell you. But I don't know if they used all of it, but they did use the spray tan line, and I was excited.
Oh, that is great.
That is gonna feel so
it was so fun. It was fun every day. Everybody laughed their head off all day long every day. Nick Stoller was precious. Everybody wanted to see me win.
Yeah.
And I swear to y'all, I think spell Cussin, because I said to Nick one day,
that's the name of the episode, spell Cussin.
Yeah.
I go, Nick, I'm just telling you, a mama from Atlanta would not cuss in front of her 4 children. I had 4 children, my character did, and they were there at the wedding. I go, a Southern mama would not say these words in front of her children. And he goes, you know, Leanne, you know better than we do. So
wow.
you think you need to do.
Maybe new money, but not old money.
Yeah, I was going to say, any of the transplants
Yeah.
that came down for acting, they'd say all that stuff. But people that are native Atlantans, they're like, they're
right. A little woman in Buckhead.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not in.
He was in junior league.
Earning your degree online doesn't mean you have to go about it alone. At Capella University, we're here to support you when you're ready. From enrollment counselors who get to know you and your goals, to academic coaches who can help you form a plan to stay on track. We care about your success and are dedicated to helping you pursue your goals. Going back to school is a big step, but having support at every step of your academic journey can make a big difference. Imagine your future differently at capella.edu.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. Time is luxury, which is why Polestar spent so much time designing the Polestar 3, their luxury electric performance SUV. It's designed to go further with up to 315 miles of range and immerse you in a unique listening experience powered by 25 speakers. Your favorite daily news podcast has never sounded better. All to make the time you spend behind the wheel of Polestar 3 the best time of your day. Book your test drive at polestar.com.
So here's the thing that, you know, as you're sitting there talking, I'm thinking about, because with your family, it's like, this is one of the parts of your story that I think is so interesting, is that, as you said, in your 50s, you have this career that just explodes. You know, you've been doing it, like we talked about before, like for a long time. So it wasn't new, but just that it sort of reaches these incredible heights. I mean, with your kids and your husband, that has got to be crazy, because you're doing it, right? It's all crazy for you. But like, you have these people side stage to your life that are, you know, your people, and they're watching this thing. Like, you know, my mom just shot a movie. Like, my mom was just on set with Will Ferrell today, and everybody's like, I'm sorry, what? You know, or like your husband, it's like, he's like, I married this girl who I love, and she did this thing, and then fast forward, I wake up one day and she's in Atlanta shooting a movie with Reese Witherspoon. I mean, that's what is that like for them? Do you know, like, how have they navigated this crazy thing? And, you know, something that John and I talked about too, kind of part 2 of that question is, it's not just your kids that are watching, but it's your grown kids. It's not like they can have their own thoughts about it. You know, I think for John and I, kids grow up seeing us play and all this kind of stuff. They've just kind of always seen us play. So it's like, well, they play music, but for them, it's like, you kind of did this thing and now you're doing this version of this that they can have real, like, grown up thoughts about.
Yes.
You
know? And that's a good way of putting it, because when I was y'all's age, I mean, my kids would see me, I'd get a deal with ABC and Warner Brothers. I was always in the game and I was always doing it. But when people interview them, they go, well, you know, she was our mom and she always put us first. And nobody was asking me to tour all the time. And I'd look back on it and I know that was God's protection over me. I was doing little gigs and anything I could get on stage. And I would have Hollywood come every once in a while and want to do something that wouldn't make it. And I'd be devastated. And I talk about it in the book. And then, but I look back on it and I think, oh my gosh, I could not have moved to LA with 3 little children children in middle school and high school. They would not become who they are. They would have not become who they are now. So anyway, then here this happens to me. And I tell you, my husband, I've had to say, Chuck, something is happening. And he just could not see it. And I mean, he could see it, but kind of, but but he's got a big job and works all the time, and he's not out on the road with me. My baby, is my makeup artist. She sees it all the time.
Which has got to be amazing to have your daughter out with you all the time.
It is, and she takes care of me, and she's hateful, but she takes care of me.
It's such a loving way, though.
She rolls her eyes, and it's like I'm a diva or something. And I do think I'm getting where I don't know how to drive, and I don't know how to do anything. I kind of am becoming like I can't do it. Y'all are gonna have to do it, but.
You're becoming a celebrity, an A-lister.
I think
you are. That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
I kind of am because I don't like to drive in traffic. But another famous comedian who I love and I'm good friends with, John Crist.
Yeah, John is a home.
Darling. He said to me that somebody told him it takes your family a while to catch up with what's happening. And that's what happened. I mean, I would be out here, in a show with 3,000 people, blowing me a kiss before I ever said a word, standing up. I get a standing ovation before I ever said anything. Mm-hmm. And let me say, boys, that I got that because I think I'm in a lane by myself. Mm-hmm. Nobody was speaking to my audience. Mm-hmm. People ignored them. Nobody cared. And then I'm their voice. So they get up at me, and I'm like, and I feel like I need to go home and put in a load of wash for them. But I would say to my family, like, this is crazy. And it just took everybody longer to catch up with me. And my husband, I would say, I think I would like to buy a pontoon boat. These grandbabies have red in their hair. I don't want them, because we had an old boat that was...
I see the logic.
XM game something where we had it for years and it was old. The seats were messed up, and my kids, when they were high school age, would, they'd tube and surf and do all that. And I said, we've got 2 grandbabies with red in their hair. I think we need to get a pontoon boat so that we can have shade to change their diapers. And he would go, who do you think we are? And then, one of my concert promoters would go, Chuck, I mean, you can get a pontoon boat. Like,
what are we, the Kennedys? I love that pontoon boats are like, that's the mark. That's
too far.
Leanne, that is too far.
Well,
that is too, do you know what our neighbors will think if we have that thing parked in our driveway?
Well, and let me tell y'all that Chuck Morgan, and it's in the book, Chuck Morgan has had us riding on the brakes since we were 27 years old, worried to death about retirement, putting children through college with no debt.
I feel Chuck. I feel
you, Chuck.
And so, and he's had to make a living for all of us. And yes, I have not repurposed aluminum foil. And I have let some cabbage rot. Okay. But anyway, he just acted like at any minute we're all going to lose everything.
You're just throwing aluminum foil away like an A-lister. You're born to do it.
Because his mama, Gail, wouldn't dare throw away.
No,
she would reuse the Ziploc bag, honey. She would clean a Ziploc bag out and dry it. But anyway, so I would say, Chuck, I mean, I think we could be doing this. I think we need to do this. And it took him a long time to figure out really the depth of everything.
Yeah.
And now I think he gets it. We're still riding on the brakes, still can't enjoy anything. Nobody's going to have joy. But
I mean, I just want to be there for that conversation where you you finally revealed to him the bank account that he didn't know you had, and it's like substantial because it's like 3 or 4 years of your earnings, and you finally go, honey, like, just it's gonna be, look, it's all.
And the first time you see him add avocado to a meal at a restaurant, and you're like, here we go, Chuck.
He's like, I will get that sweet tea. Lives. You know what, George, I will have that sweet tea actually.
Well, for years he would say, nobody order a Coca-Cola, don't you dare, everybody get water. And I tell y'all this, when I was doing clubs and selling out, when it first happened, and I started selling out one-nighters all over the United States, and because some videos had gone viral, and I was just about to quit. And I hired these 2 social media boys, and I think I've told you, Dave, that they were these 2 precious brothers that were homeschooled, and their daddy was a pastor, and they got my voice, and they put out, and they're comedic, I think, comedic geniuses, and they know how to edit, and they know where the joke is and all that. And they put those videos out and they went viral. Okay, so I was going all over, and I had a backpack, and I was traveling and touring, and I never had anything that big. And I had all these checks from comedy clubs that I had not cashed because I'm unorganized and I'm an artist. And Chuck Morgan looked in my backpack and said, "You are like a drug dealer. What are you doing with all these checks in your..." And he had no, I go, "I know, I just hadn't had time to get to the bank." And he wanted to whip me because
he's
so,
in traffic.
So organized.
You're like, "I don't even care to get paid. I do it for the love.
Not for the money, Chuck.
I'm not even going to check. We're not even going to cash them." Okay.
But I've always been biblical, and I have always told him every word, and he takes care of my money now. They begged me to get a business manager, and Chuck Morgan goes, "We're not doing that."
Ain't no way he's doing that.
Well, and he's got an MBA in finance.
Oh, yeah.
He's got one in-house.
Yeah, a lot of comics, their little wives trying to tend to things, and she made the house payment, and they're all high on marijuana. And Chuck Morgan has ran, we're just different.
Yeah.
So I said to my Hollywood people, because they would beg me to get a business manager, and Chuck would get on with them, and they would say, "Well, do you know this, this, and this, Chuck?" And he would go, "Yes, I'm doing this, this, and this." And finally they go, "He doesn't need us."
Wow.
He does not need one.
Chuck has been practicing his whole life with this.
Yeah.
He's finally in the game, and he is give me the ball.
He keeps his thumb on me, and I'm sick of it. All right, now, when it comes to more streaming income and all, if there's different ones, and, he said, it may get to a point where I can't do all this, but right now, biblically, I make sure that Chuck Morgan, I pass everything by him, not the Amazon packages, none of that, boys.
Oh, sure.
I do some stuff on the side,
I'm sweat laughing.
I bought new towels.
I'm literally sweat laughing. I'm laughing so hard that I'm like, I've got sweat on my back. This is killing me.
Can I ask you something real quick before we run out of time? Because I want to make sure that I really ask about this, because this is top of mind for me. This is a selfish question.
You're an expert. You're an expert.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have two girls, and my oldest just started middle school. And I love her to death. She is amazing. And I told Dave when we were chatting earlier, like, mornings right now in the McLaughlin household look like a bad 90s PSA video for teen girl emotion. Where it's like, it's too on the nose. If I were directing that video, I'd be like, we need to dial it back a little bit. This is so on the nose. Leanne, what advice do you have for me? Because I'm 5 minutes into it, and I don't know if I'm going to live through it.
Oh, my darling. Everything's going to be all right. First of all, let me say that it will be okay eventually.
Eventually.
But buckle up. And the next 3 years of middle school for a girl, to me, is the worst. I have a boy and two girls, and my boy would get in the car in 6th grade and cry, and I would say, "Baby, why are you crying?" He'd go, "I don't even know why I'm crying." And we all cried and fought, and my girls were younger, and they wanted to whip if anybody that ever said anything mean to him and all that, and he's so tenderhearted. But it was puberty, and he didn't even know what was happening. Then the girls went through it. That's a whole nother rodeo. And I'll tell you why. Girls are mean in middle school. Then they are mean to yours, and yours is going through her hormone, all that. Plus, she's trying to fit in. Mm-hmm. And then some heifer in 8th grade. I'll tell you, there's nothing meaner on this earth than an 8th grade girl. I hate to even say that to you and speak that into your future.
Can you spell it?
You didn't spell heifer. You just said the whole word.
I'm so impressed. Will Ferrell will be delighted right now.
Heifer.
He'd be so proud of you. Just letting it run.
Heifer. My people said heifer when they wanted to be mean because we're farming people. But I'm telling you, fight Don't fight the big battles. You don't ever want her to take ecstasy. Don't let her go to somebody's house that doesn't have any sense. You fight the big battles, and then the little battles when she says,
wait.
Dad, let it go.
Yeah.
Okay?
I just love
let it go.
the top of the big battle list was don't take ecstasy. I love it.
I heard that somebody let a child go at 14 years old, and she did ecstasy. And that's the stupid bunch of people. So you make sure, I'm sure you've got your children in a precious school, but we all know everything's not perfect, but you've got to probably where it's the most perfect it can be. And you know who these parents are, and you can find out who the bad apple is. You keep yours away from that bad apple, because there's some people that are stupid, and they will have parties so that their children are more popular, and they'll let them do things that you never would imagine anybody would. And so you need to keep them away from that. You teach this baby to be kind and I know you are, when people are mean, and cream rises to the top. She'll get to high school and everything will be all right. She'll get her very best friends. These middle school people, it's probably not the permanent ones. I mean, there's some in there and there's some not. Everybody's fighting just like they're out in the Serengeti, and it's everybody's trying to get, be the win and be the top.
Yeah.
Don't let her fall into all that mess. Be true to who she is. You fight the big battles, not the small battles. Love her. She can't help it. She's not in her own mind. She's not in her own right mind. That little thing. And plus, see, y'all are young. Y'all got social media. These little children, mine missed that. Mine were on the cusp of that and missed it. I don't know how y'all are doing it. I wouldn't let anybody have a phone. I'd get out here and raise chickens. If I were y'all, I'd get out in the woods and I'd make people get a job. Here's another thing. I'm preaching now. I'm sorry.
Go.
I know it's hard because everybody's in private school and everybody's got papers to write and all that's great. Teach those children grit. Make them get a job at 16. Even Chick-fil-A hires at 14. I would make, everybody's got to clock in, everybody's got to suffer, everybody can't go to every ball game, can't go to every party, they've got to have responsibilities, make them do chores at home. If I look, and I didn't do all that, I did some of it, but I look back now and I realize what I should have done. And they got to have grit. Nobody has any grit.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, don't let them ride a bicycle, no helmet for 20 miles like I did, but teach them how to work.
Yeah.
And of course, y'all are teaching your little children that they're children of God, and that's the most important thing. And your worth comes in that. It doesn't come in money. It doesn't come in how you look. It doesn't come, it's all in your relationship with Jesus. So I know y'all got it. I just don't envy you.
Yeah.
With the baby going into 6th grade, my darling.
I know. It's rough.
And she's going to be so hateful to you and her mama. And she doesn't even know what she's doing. Let it go. Let it go. She doesn't even know she's in her. Let it go, because they come back around and they're your very best friend. I'm not kidding. And they're going to be the ones taking care of you. Maggie has called me 10 times today from her job. I'm going to meet her later because their brother turned 31 today. He's got our 2 grandbabies, and we're having an outdoor movie at his house to celebrate. That's what he wanted to do. And he wanted to watch Jeremiah Johnson, but he said, you know what? I think that's a little heavy. He's an old soul, and he wanted, that Robert Redford movie.
Yes.
So I think he's picked another movie because he said that's probably a little heavy for a party.
I mean, all I can see is cut to the backyard. He is having the time of his life, and everybody else is staring at the screen. The kids are crying, and he's just cranking popcorn. It was shielding eyes and ears.
My boy, is an old.
You're having dirty thoughts about Robert Redford the whole time.
Yeah.
Well,
my boy is a very old soul and grew up loving, Daniel Boone and all that kind of stuff. And then, but my girls, the middle one was bullied in 8th grade. And I remember they went to a Christian school in Knoxville, and the counselor came out and said to me, and I love her, Bobby Stanfield, and she said, Leanne, something's going on, but we know what it is, and we're going to help Maggie through it.
Mm.
And I didn't even realize what was happening. And she said, this is textbook, and this is what's going to happen. And she walked me through the whole thing, and she was right. Everything she said was how it played out. And she said, Maggie's sweet. She'll rise to the cream rises to the top. She'll find her real fake friends, and she did.
Wow.
And then the baby child that does my makeup, everybody's scared to death of her. And nobody's messes with her, honey.
Uh-huh.
And nobody this day messes. She says she thinks she could be a sniper in the army. She said, I love my country and I could kill somebody and go to bed that night. And I know that sounds twisted. I'd put her up against anybody. And if y'all know anybody, a military man, she's looking for one. She like that can kick in a door, but also would like a 401k. Okay, but she's the baby and she's bougie.
Okay.
So she needs some old money with also some, a 401k and a pension.
Which, by the way, that reminds me of, you have so many incredible moments in your Netflix special, but when you said, look at all these men in these, was it golf shirts or something like that? And you're like, that smells like health insurance to me.
Oh.
I mean,
that killed me.
And I mean that, y'all. I can flirt. I've still got it. And I love men, and I can see them, and they look just like Chuck Morgan. My husband's in a half zip golf, and that says, because I'm from the country, nobody played golf. We didn't have tennis. We didn't know what that was. Yeah. So when I saw him at the University of Tennessee getting an MBA with a half zip golf, and he knew how to play golf, I thought, that is something he do.
That is the man. Leanne, you are. I mean,
is it over? Don't tell me.
No, it's not. We're not over. We have the best part.
Hard in an interview.
Without a doubt. Like, I'm not kidding. You can't see it. I have sweat rings. I have sweat laughed, which, I mean, you know how much we love you. You are so funny. I can't, I don't want this to end, but we have a speed round, and I'm really excited about asking these questions because I feel like there's going to be some doozies.
Can I ask real quick, would y'all have dated me if we were in the 80s? Because y'all were both so cute and got good hair.
Well, I was writing a love letter to you the other night, and Annie caught me. And she said, what is this? And I had to, it was really awkward explaining it. But I had really good handwriting. I'd practiced it 3 different times on different sheets. And
first draft,
she was impressed.
Second draft, yep.
Yeah, it was
you
good.
Did it in pencil,
really
then traced it in pen, that whole thing.
It had some John Mayer lyrics. It was great. It was really good. Yeah. Okay, so this is a speed round. And so you just got to, don't worry, this doesn't have to be the fastest thing there is. We just call it a speed round because it makes it feel like it's fast. Worst stand-up show that you've ever had to do?
Man that make carpet fiber in Dalton, Georgia.
You were ready with
We already went over this.
Corporate gig, horrible. Half the men were Japanese, couldn't speak English. The other half were
That's
white
a
men
hindrance.
that make carpet fiber, who usually I'm good with. I'm usually good with them, but that was not a good night. I wish that somebody had shot me up there on that stage. I begged in my heart. I went through my 45 minutes and 20 minutes, and I was pulling
No.
No, they had James Gregory the year before, and he had killed. And then me, and I don't know if I got intimidated and acted weird. And I was talking about low-rising blue jeans and my stomach hanging over my pants and looked like a small purse. Maybe that, wasn't good for all men. But that was early on. And, you learn from all those horrible things.
Of course.
But anyway, okay. Long question, long answer. Sorry.
That's great.
Oh,
all right.
My God.
Next question. 3 people you would love to have dinner with. Present company completely included.
Yeah, we're not.
What about, are they dead or alive?
You tell us.
They're alive at the beginning of the dinner, at least.
Oh Lord, y'all. Okay. All right. I've always said this, and this sounds crazy, but Elvis.
Mm-hmm.
George Michael. Wait,
oh my gosh.
I'm going music here.
Okay.
And Prince. Okay.
Wow.
Elvis, George Michael and Prince. They're my boos on my boo.
That would be a great dinner.
That would be a
but
really
then if you gave me history, then I'd have a whole other thing for history.
Yeah.
And then if you had like old Hollywood murder, I'd have a whole nother thing.
Old Hollywood murder.
Let's go math. Let's go math. Who are the mathematicians you'd go for? That'll be the bonus episode. You don't have to answer that yet.
Yeah, we'll have you. We want you to think about that one. Okay, so if let's say that you are hosting this dinner, so you're cooking for it with these three. What is like the Leanne, like, Chuck called you tonight and he's like, the president's eating with us in 6 hours. Like, you got to make what are you like? Oh, I got this because I got this meal and I'm gonna knock this one meal out. It's my meal.
Well, this will make y'all will think she's pitiful. But I tell you what I go to, it wouldn't be for the president, I'm sure. That would make me crazy. But I would go right to Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when I have children that go, I mean, that's not a good president meal. But when my children go for their birthday, they go, Mom, can you make Trisha Yearwood's chicken piccata?
Now, what does Trisha Yearwood add to her chicken piccata that makes it uniquely
She came out
Trisha
with
Yearwood?
her first cookbook, honey, would knock your eyeballs out, John. She's had several, I guess, and she had a cooking show. I don't know if she's still doing that. That first cookbook was my people, my recipes, and there was but I never made chicken piccata. I thought that was just for the Italian people. I made that recipe when they were little, and they begged me for it all the time, and it's good. Oh,
you know what? It's funny. I love that they add. It feels like a dig at you that they don't just say chicken piccata, but they say Trisha Yearwood's chicken. It's just a constant reminder.
And let me tell you, because I know we're supposed to be talking about the book, but sweet Trisha Yearwood wrote a blurb for me. And that little thing came to my show at the Ryman and said, Leanne, you don't realize how our lives are parallel. Her sister's name is Beth. My sister's name is Beth. She said, I was a little girl in a little bitty town, and I had this big dream, and I didn't know how to get to it. And she said, I read your book, and it was just like reading my own life. I know, is that not crazy?
That's cool.
She said, there are so many parallels in our life. I was married before, young, got a divorce. I talk about that in the book. Then married Chuck Morgan. She married Garth Brooks.
Yeah, same thing.
Kind of the same thing.
I've heard that he will not buy her ever a pontoon. He's like, we are not those people. The Brooks are not people that buy pontoon.
There's no pontoon in their driveway, I'll tell you that.
You're not going to see it out there.
All right, if you could stop the whole world and everyone could listen to one of your bits, just one bit. You got the whole world for however long your bit is. What's the bit that you would have the whole world listen to?
Old people that go to concerts.
Yes.
Def Leppard and Journey.
That bit is bulletproof.
Thank you. And I love telling it. It's fun to tell. And I think I have that about that love for that because I really never got to do it. Because they filmed that in Chattanooga, that was the first time I ever said it. I just said it because
really?
Chuck Morgan, we had just been to see Def Leppard like the weekend before, and I was so worried in Chattanooga because I had been to Chattanooga so many times, and I thought I don't have new material. I don't have any new material. I need to do something different, and I just threw that out there. They got it. A little guy filmed it. We paid him $400 to film 3 of us. He got it on film. That was the first video that the Honest Fox Media that did my social media put that out. It went viral. That's what changed my whole life.
Wow.
And so, because everybody saw it, I didn't perform it anywhere. Very rarely. Yeah. And so I haven't performed it that many times, but when I do, I mean, I just love it. I just think, and I think the detail in it, I like detail in the thyroid and the hernia.
Yes, that's what makes it.
It's also when you do the dance kills me. It's that's when I'm out. I'm like, every time I watch that bit, I wait for that. And I'm like, already, I start sweat laughing again. Okay. So final question. So you just wrote this book. If you could write a book about being a mom, what would you call that book? What would the title be?
Oh, well, the first thing that comes up in my head is my precious babies. I'm in love with them. Mm-hmm. And I want y'all to know, and that sounds sappy, but I want y'all to know, because Dave, how old are your little children?
So they are 13, 10, and 8.
Okay.
Or 12, 10.
And then, John, yours are how old?
Mine are right in the middle of his, 11 and 9.
What a blessing. Okay. Now, see, mine are my best friends. We go and do everything together. I'm with them all the time. They want to be with us, which is a blessing. I get to be with my grandbabies. I mean, I have truly enjoyed my children. Mm-hmm. They were not my friend. Here, I'm going to preach a little bit right here. Mm-hmm. They were not my friend when they were in middle school. I was their mama. I was not their friend.
Yeah.
And then now they're grown. They turned into wonderful people, and they're kind and compassionate, and they love the Lord. And now they're my friends, and they're my best friends. And y'all got so much to look forward to. You can't even imagine. Now, when I wrote this book, let me tell y'all, I wanted to talk about my sin and everything I did in the 80s. And all the ding-dongs I dated and smoking behind the dumpster. And my literary agent, who was so funny, said, honey, you're not Joan Crawford yet. And I thought that was so funny. And he goes, let's make this book a fun, get to know Leanne. You know, funny essays. And I do talk a little bit about the sin, but he goes, and then we'll do a cookbook, and then you can talk about your sin in the third one. I go, okay. But I do, I talk a lot about being a mama and all that, but this whole comedy journey, and then really and truly, without being sappy, I look back and I see God's protection over me. I see God's plan in it all. It was perfect. I'll tell you all this. And when I just did my audio book, I recorded it last week, and it made me want to bawl it was hard for me. I laughed, but I cried through a lot of it.
Wow.
But on the day those boys put out Def Leppard and Journey was the day that I moved my last baby in New York in her apartment to go to school up there.
Wow.
So God, when I would think, why isn't this working? And I'm going to quit. And this deal didn't work and all that. My last baby was being moved into an apartment in Brooklyn. And that video went viral. To me, that was God saying, okay, you got them raised. Here we go, girl.
Wow.
I believe that. I believe that it was his time and what was supposed to happen. Because they didn't need me like they used to. I mean, I was the mom. Chuck Morgan made us the living. I was so lucky that I didn't have to make the living and do comedy I could pick and choose what I wanted to do and all that. But that they did not need me anymore, and I could go on tour, and all this happened for me. I mean, think about it. I'm the mom of 3 children. I could not have not raised my own children. You know, and Brian Dorfman said that to me at Zany's years ago when my Tess was 18 months old and she's 26. And he said, Leanne, I think you've got something. But he said, you don't see a lot of women doing comedy because they can't, moms, because you cannot leave your children for, days at a time every week of the world try to make it. Back then, you had to go up through the comedy clubs. And he was right. My children wouldn't have been good to do that. So anyway, I just think it all couldn't have come out any better than now. And now we can all enjoy it together. I don't want them to quit work because they all say, I don't have any PTO. That darn PTO. If I hear that one more time, and I'll go, let's go meet Will Ferrell and did it. And they go, I don't have any PTO if I'm having Christmas. I thought, darn it, I want everybody to quit, but Chuck Morgan doesn't want anybody to quit and work for me. He wants everybody to work like meals, which is good. That's good.
That's right.
But still.
He's still got his thumb on you. I mean, he's got to get that thumb off you, Leanne.
I know.
You are
He's
the best.
A bossy person.
Everybody that is listening obviously knows how wonderful you are. Not just how funny you are, but how wonderful you are. You got these shows coming up. I'm so excited about you doing this Netflix special. Can't wait to hear how that goes. The movie is coming out. The book, which is, again, I just want to circle back. What in the World? A Southern Woman's Guide to Laughing at Life's Unexpected Curveballs and Beautiful Blessings. That's in September, into September. You're the best. I mean, I love you so much. I love listening to you. Make me laugh so hard. I'm thrilled. And I'll say this in conclusion, watching from the sidelines what you're doing and how it's working and knowing how wonderful you are just makes me really happy. Makes me really happy.
Thank you, Dave. And I know that. I received that, you angel. You've always been so good to me. Thank you, my darling. And thank y'all, 2 beautiful men with beautiful teeth, having me on this show.
My video must
and even
be a little
caring about
blurry.
what in the world I'm saying.
Well, you're the best.
Thank you so much.
Let us know when you get back to Nashville. We want to come to the show.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
I'm doing a book stop there. I'm doing a book stop in Mount Juliet. Sometime in that week of September when that book comes out, y'all.
Let me know. Yeah. Let me know.
Okay.
Let me know. Leanne, you are the best.
I love y'all.
Thank you
I wish
so
I
much.
could do y'all's laundry and tend to these kids. Darn it.
We would love that.
Anytime.
We would love that.
That's an
You
open
just bring your
invitation.
ministry over to Nashville. We'll welcome it. Thank y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have fun in Fishers. I'm going to text all my friends and family.
Please do. I need to sell out an arena.
All right.
Dadville.